Hello, my name is Wally Frank, and this is Out of the Salt Shaker, being the church in the real world. Religion is like money. People use it to get what they want. Throughout the world, there are many different types of currency, and within each country, many different denominations. In Canada, we have $1 and $2 coins, and then we have bills, $5, $10, $20, $50, and $100 bills. I've heard rumors of larger bills, but I haven't seen them. There are hundreds of different religions which exist in the world today. Have you ever asked yourself which religion is the real one? It's important to understand important issues and philosophies. It's important to understand and to believe the right things. People want to be right when it comes to religion. Long ago, the prophet Micah addressed the idea of true religion. Micah dealt directly with the universal question, what does a sinner do to restore his relationship with God? To deal with the issue, Micah asked questions and then gave answers. His questions are recorded in Micah chapter 6, verse 7, and the answers are in verse 8. I'd like to read that to you. Micah chapter 6. With what shall I come before the Lord and bow down before the exalted God? Shall I come before him with burnt offerings, with calves a year old? Will the Lord be pleased with thousands of rams and with 10,000 rivers of oil? Shall I offer my firstborn for my transgression, the fruit of my body for the sin of my soul? He has shown you, O man, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you, but to act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God? In our day, the question of real religion has to be prominent. Someone once put all the religions of the world into two categories. The first category, there are those religions which say human beings can do something to earn God's favor. The second category, there are those religions which say that God does something for human beings. The real religion is the first category. Let's study both carefully, using Micah as our source. Some think we need to earn God's favor. Look at the basic question about religion. With what shall I come before the Lord and bow before the exalted God? How should we come before the Lord? This is a question of worship, a question of approach. How can I come before the Creator and Sustainer of all life? This question reflects the intense desire people have to know how to be right with God. We desperately need to understand that. Every possible means may be tried to seeking to earn God's favor. Micah mentions several ways we humans have tried to earn God's favor. Shall I come before the Lord with, and the possibility he lists are as follows. Would God be pleased with sacrificed offerings? In some sacrifices, the entire animal was consumed by fire upon the altar. Some gifts we give to the Lord represent a real sacrifice in our lives, whether that be time or talent, money, attitude, and we feel that whatever we offer is just being consumed. Would God be pleased with year-old calves, he asks? Would tender, precious gifts please the Lord? Does he want us to give those specific things in our lives, those special things in our lives, from our lives? Does he want us to give special things? Would God be pleased with extravagant offerings? Can quantity make up for quality? That's what he's asking. Can show make up for substance? Which is what some of us try to do. The fourth thing he asks is, would God be pleased with human sacrifice, the most costly of all? Some religions of their time required child sacrifices, and the prophet may be reminded of Abraham's supreme act of faith in his willingness to sacrifice his son Isaac. Perhaps this is a pattern for us to follow if we are to show genuine worship and true religion. Micah did not list all the ways people seek to please God. Of course, they try more ways than Micah mentioned. And yet, after all our own efforts are tried, the result is the same. There's nothing we can do to earn a right relationship with God. There's nothing we can do to earn the Lord's favor. Paul says there are none who are righteous. We are all selfish and self-seeking. We have all sinned and fall short of God's standard, and there's nothing we can do on our own, in our own strength, to make it right. Imagine if God said, there was a way to be right with me. There's only one thing that you have to do to be in a right relationship. Simply jump to the moon. That's it. That's all you have to do. What would you do? Would you try to jump? If God said that was the only way, wouldn't you try it? Wouldn't you believe that it could be done if God was asking for it? You try and you fail. You practice and you train and you repeat and strain. You're very sincere, but you still can't make it. Maybe you can jump further than the next guy, but still, you can just barely make it off the ground. You're just not succeeding. There's no way you can do it in your own strength. If there's no way we can earn God's favor, why would He tell us that we must? God does not put that on us. Why would we put it on ourselves? Why do we demand that others measure up to our standards and say that this is what really pleases God? How do we attempt to please God? This is a question which puzzles so many people, and I believe it's at the core of many false religions. Others think we need to accept what God has already done for us. Listen to the authoritative answer about real religion. This is what Micah says. He has shown you, O man, what is good, and what does the Lord require of you? The anxious uncertainty about what pleases the Lord is replaced by a calm certainty about what the Lord requires. He has shown you. He's made it clear. This is what the Lord requires of you. God lists His requirements: to do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. Let's look carefully at what God requires of us. The first deals with community relationships. The Old Testament believer lived in a group of other faithful people, and they were bound by a common covenant relationship to the Lord. To be committed to the Lord also involved commitment to the covenant community. The prophets used the word justice to characterize this covenant responsibility of social responsibility. To do justice or to act justly meant to practice justice with one another. The second described a single-hearted loyalty to the Lord, to love mercy. The word mercy is a word of partnership. It describes the faithfulness of God to humanity, but it also describes a person's faithfulness to God. The word is often translated in terms of God's loving kindness, His covenant-keeping love. And we are to show this mercy, this relational commitment to one another, as well as to God. The Lord often complained to God about Israel's fickle faith. The third requirement depicts a careful walk with the Lord, to walk humbly with your God. The word describes an intimate relationship with the Lord, which results in a close communion with Him, the way we live our lives. It's a relationship which is sustained by the grace of God and not by any standing we may have or by anything we may do to win approval. Our relationship is based only on God's desire and on the work of Christ. Sin separates us from God. Sin carries a penalty, and that penalty has to be paid. When we recognize that He has paid the price and there's nothing we can do, nothing we can add to it to earn salvation or a right standing before God, we are humbled. The truth can cut through the lies and deceit which Satan hurls at us. We're not good enough. but he is. There is nothing we can do, but enough has already been done for us. False religion leads to pride, a pride in our own accomplishment. That pride will lead us into bondage of trying to do and to be and to keep up appearances, to be religious. But Jesus said, you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Free to walk humbly in the light of his grace. And he says, whom the Son sets free will be free indeed. Think about your religion, what you believe about God. Is it the real one? Is it real? Is it real to you? If you have had to perform and give of yourself or your finances to gain God's approval, you have the wrong religion. Open your life to the Lord and let him work in and through you. Accept his gift of grace. If you have never accepted his free gift of salvation, you could do that today. If you have never entered into that relationship, then you're just living an empty religion. And religion doesn't please God. How shall I come before the Lord? How can we please him? He has shown you, and he's made it plain and simple. We have confused it. We in our religion have made it difficult. Act in love, justly to one another. Show mercy in your actions, your words, your attitudes. Walk in humble obedience, not putting attention on yourself or giving too much credit to your relationship with God, as if it is something that you've created or sustained by your own power. Open your life to the Lord and let him work in and through you for his glory. God bless you.